Hi, welcome to Fix a Risk, where we help you to do exactly that. This is the first episode of a series focused on SIEM risks. These videos are designed for those that, even if academically, know what a SIEM is and from there wish to avoid issues that frequently exist on installation, configuration, and operation. No past experience is required, but you will take more advantage if at least you know how a SIEM works. These videos are based on my experience after years of working with different SIEM products in different industries. We will see which things work and those that did not. I hope you use this knowledge to mitigate risks in your environment and prevent mistakes that others made. From my view, the top risk when a SIEM is deployed is doing so without having a plan. Therefore, the first risk in this series is lack of strategy when deploying a SIEM. Today, we will see how a SIEM is commonly deployed and identify some risks that come from that approach. In the end, we will introduce the SIEM strategy that this channel will follow in upcoming videos. So, commonly a SIEM is deployed in 3 steps. 1. Event collectors are deployed. 2. Systems are configured as log sources to send event to the collectors. And 3. Correlation engine is configured with rules to detect possible security incidents. Indeed, this is a very simplified view, but please stick with me. At this point, the strategy being followed might be very simple. Often, it goes by trying to create rules and more rules. At the same time, team adds more systems to the SIEM platform which, by the way, gives the pretext to create even more rules. At some point, the focus can also be adding more security analysts to the team, for instance, to cover a 24/7 service. This is a model where we assume that more is better. Do you see risks in this approach? This strategy may seem alright, but in fact there are several risks that need to be accounted. The greatest risk we have here is that all of these activities may not be aligned between themselves. Therefore, we need to have a strategy for the SIEM. So you can see what I mean. Let me highlight a few concerns security professionals should check at this point. Feel free to pause if you wish to read all of them, although we will do a deep dive on those topics in future videos. Here, these rules exist, but do they fulfill these requirements? The fact that they need to be relevant for the business is actually very important, and that is why we will discuss it in the next video of this series. Regarding the analysts, can we be sure that the service does not depend only on a few users that know it all? Also, are we certain that consistent and secure outputs are delivered independently on who is on the shift? And what about the events themselves? How can we be sure that they are relevant and meaningful for the organization? When we do not have a SIEM strategy in place, giving honest answers to all of these questions can be challenging at least. That is why, in this series, we will see how to build a robust SIEM. We will go step by step so we can see how to do it, but, most important, why to do it that way. Meanwhile, let me show you a real case where problems happen because of the lack of SIEM strategy. So, the organization suffered a security incident. The analyst on call connected to SIEM to search for affected users and systems. He gets a list and shares it for remediation. Based on this list, security teams take action to protect the accounts and the systems involved. At some point, all entries in the list are remediated and the incident is considered closed. At first glance, this seemed okay, but the truth is that the organization was still at risk. Because SIEM was not designed properly, the list of affected users was not complete, and remediation was insufficient. Let's then go back to see what happened so we can mitigate this risk. To find affected users, the analyst queried by source username field. For this case, this choice seemed adequate considering the indicators of compromise that were known. As before, this is the list that he got. The reality is that more users were affected, and we know this because Service Desk was still receiving tickets for issues matching the security incidents. The issue is that even knowing that those users were affected, they were not appearing in the SIEM when we were searching by source username or even by target username. This means that no corrective actions were taken on them and they were still a risk to the organization. The root cause was the incorrect design of the fields while configuring the SIEM. Let me be more precise. Some log sources populated the user ID in the source username field, but other log sources used the different fields. Since there was no strategy defined for SIEM, the event information was being dispersed through multiple fields. As a consequence, it was very hard anytime we had to find the right list of affected users for each incident. By the way, in this case, and after the detailed risk analysis was done, these were the different fields where user ID was being recorded. Because there was no strategy in place, each time a log source was onboarded to SIEM, new custom fields were created at the will of the engineers. As a result, we were actively spreading the information through a sea of unnecessary complexity that, as visible in this example, had direct impact to the organization's security. In future videos, we will check more examples of risks to SIEM and see how to fix them. As a reference, here, in Fix a Risk, the proposal for a SIEM strategy contains 6 domains. Each domain accommodates several subjects that we will revisit in other videos so we can pay the right attention to them. You can find in the description the full list of subjects if you do not wish to pause to read them now. If you see anything that may be missing, please leave a comment. These domains work together to make a SIEM efficient and secure by fixing issues and risks just like the one we saw. By the way, all of this is technology and industry agnostic, so you can use it as you will. Future videos will explain the steps to remediate the risks and, naturally, we will start with the activity we should do first when building a successful SIEM. This is what I have for you in this series introduction. Until then, keep an eye for the next videos so we can work together to fix a risk.